Can you state your name, please?
Claire Brown.
We're missing a little girl.
Was that scarecrow there a minute ago?
Jericho, wait!
Everyone in the village disappears on the 21st of November, 1967. Tonight. It's happening again.
Hello everyone, welcome once again to the Geek Syndicate Flux Reviews. We're here looking at episode 4 of season 13, or Flux if you will, which is titled Village of the Angels. My name's Anthony, Wedgestock on the internet in most places, and I'm here as ever with my good friend, Mr. Barry Nugent. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well, thank you. Yep, doing good. Just checking to make sure there's no angels outside my office, but I feel I'm all good for the episode.
What I've taken to doing is I actually have a sledgehammer on standby.
Yes.
Because I don't know why no one's tried it yet. But
yeah, that's a good point. It's a good point. Although there is something with a cricket bat that we could discuss later. I don't know. Cricket bat wouldn't work, would it? I suppose it's not hard enough. But you're right. Yeah, sledgehammer. Yeah, good point. Good point.
Yeah, it's kind of what I'm there for, you know. But there we go.
There we go.
But so
let's not start with the negatives.
Let's not start with the negatives. Let's hit the old blurb and get into it.
Yeah.
So Devon, November 1967. A little girl has gone missing. Professor Eustachius Jericho, which is an awesome name, I do love him, is conducting psychic experiments, and in the village graveyard there is one gravestone too many. Why is Mediton known as the Cursed Village, and what do the Weeping Angels want? This episode was written by Maxine Alderton, who also wrote The Haunting of the Diodati last year, which is one that Ashard was introduced in with Mary Shelley.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Which I thought was interesting, and also Chris Chibnall. So they've got equal writing credits on this. So, yeah, I mean, brief overview. What did you reckon, brief overview-wise?
My brief overview was, one, I went into this not knowing anything about it because I hadn't seen the Next Time trailer last week. I purposefully kind of jumped ship. So it was great going in blind. Overall, I've got to say, knocked it out of the park for me.
Okay.
I see that yeah, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. I could say things about kind of, there's probably other Who monsters you could bring in to have performed the same function that the Angels did in this episode. But I actually thought they were used to pretty good effect. There was a couple of moments where I did sort of jump. Actually, no, we'll get into it. That's my overall thoughts. Was I enjoyed it.
I've been scouring the internet as they do after these things, and Twitter with its spoilers straight after and stuff, and there does seem to be a very positive reaction to this one. But I came out of it sort of a bit, I don't know. It was all right.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking back on it, I don't really know why. I don't know if it was my brain going into it or just because I'm not really. I don't know. I don't know what it is. So I quite like discussing it when I'm in that frame of mind, because usually by the end of it, you'll have taught me around a bit.
Oh, no pressure then. Yeah, I think as well, like, because I went into the episode almost a little bit another Weeping Angels episode. The fact that by the end of it, I was really kind of enjoying it and doing the whole kind of wondering how they're going to get out of things, and that was a hell of a cliffhanger it ended on.
I mean, the cliffhanger was
proper,
yeah.
I do love a good. Also, as well, I felt that where I started to get worried was, I don't know how long we had gone through the episode. I started to think this is a great episode, but it feels really standalone.
Okay, yeah.
And then they obviously tied in. I think at that point was the point where the Doctor then faces off against the sort of renegade angel on that sort of stone beach when she goes into, is it Claire?
Yeah, Claire the seer, Claire the clairvoyant.
Claire goes into her mind and they have this sort of conversation, which I like the way they did that. And you then find out that the angels are working. Well, this collection of angels are working with the division or working for the division, and and the fact that she had all the Doctor's memories, or at least that's what she was saying.
Yeah, she purported to have all that knowledge and all that information about the Doctor's comings and goings, as it were, I suppose.
Yeah. And I thought, oh, okay, that's how it's tied in. So even though it was almost like it was tied in by dialogue, I still liked the fact that it was tied in. And then we had the other storyline going on with Belle on the planet, and you had Azure doing her thing. So actually, it was quite tied into the story, which I really enjoyed. On a slight kind of critique side of it, I still feel like the Flux itself has almost taken a back seat. And so when we had that first episode, we saw the Flux ripping through the galaxy and tearing apart planets and stuff. I'm a bit confused. What is it that what they did on the Planet of Time in that episode? Once upon time?
Once upon time. Yeah.
Yeah. Is it that what the Doctor did in that episode basically stopped the Flux?
Yeah, so the impression I kind of got from it was it kind of like from that episode was that had halted the Flux, but enough damage had been done for Swarm and Azures, or the Ravagers, whatever their race is called, for their plan to actually still work.
Right.
And potentially they were just using the Flux as their thing and almost wanted the Doctor to be able to stop it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's kind of what I got from it. I mean, seeing Belle was great again, as you say. I do like. I don't know why I like her character so much. Just like she's not had that much screen time, but every time she's on screen, I don't know if she's got presence.
Yeah.
And
she was in a show called The Irregulars on Netflix.
Okay, I might have to check that out because she's certainly carrying this for me. And I also quite liked with her the fact that she tried to do good, but she knew she couldn't save everyone. She just shouted a warning and grabbed the one person nearest to her and just got herself out of dodge, basically.
Yeah.
I quite like that. She's not. She wasn't afraid to just save herself, sort of thing.
Yeah. Have you heard the I can't think what you call
theory.
It. The theory around Vinda and Belle.
Yeah. I've seen a couple. So I've seen the one around potentially them being the Doctor's original parents.
Yeah.
And then I've seen another one, which is because Bell is an old Babylonian word for master.
Oh, really?
Yeah, make of that what you will.
that seems given her character, that seems a stretch.
Yeah, that feels to me like one of those things that you've kind of like you've chuckled as you're writing it because you know where the fan theories are going to go with it.
Yeah.
If I'm honest.
Yeah. However, given the look of the whole timeless child thing, when they found the child, the look of the child,
yeah,
and they seem to be putting a lot of effort into Belle and Vinda, and they keep mentioning the fact that she is pregnant. I don't know.
Yeah, there's definitely more to them. There has, like you say, there has to be.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that they're even in it for a start.
Yeah.
Means there has to be more to them that's going to come out in the wash, as it were.
And it's still too early days, so I can't even really comment on how I would feel if they turned out to be the Doctor's parents. I don't know. I feel sometimes there's an argument of I always like sometimes with characters. I prefer the mystery of the character rather than knowing every single thing about the character. So we'll wait and see because it could be a complete sort of red herring.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I'm like you. I mean, as you know, I grew up in the 80s, and when I was really watching Doctor Who and really getting into it, it was the Sylvester McCoy era, which was when Andrew Cartmel he'd done that. He'd almost got to that point that the same as DC Comics did, where they just knew, like, you know what, there's too much stuff here. We need to just clean shop. And he started reintroducing like those elements of mystery and something more to the Doctor than just being a Time Lord. Because by that point, the Gallifreyans were showing up like almost every year, sort of thing, like,
Yeah.
And there was no mystery to it. So, and I prefer that than having like concrete answers. It's like I quite liked how, Moffat did the whole River Song thing and potentially being the Doctor's husband and it actually just being a plot thing and all the rest of it. I quite like that because it kind of answers it while leaving it still actually, but it doesn't mean that much in grand stakes of things.
Yeah.
And like you, I just feel like there's by going that deep into the mythology and saying, oh yeah, here's a definite origin for this character, you do take something away. Personally.
But kind of, getting ahead of ourselves because we won't know until obviously the dust is settled in episode 6. And even then, I think people are now starting to think, given the fact we've only got 2 episodes left, is this something that is somebody that's going to hang over until her specials?
Yeah, absolutely. Because because the final episode's going to be like, is it on an anniversary of the centenary of the BBC or something, isn't it? A final episode's going to wear. So, and it's probably going to be called Centenary.
Yeah. But one of the things I liked about it was pretty fun. All things considered, it was pretty fast paced, and by that I mean there was no build up to the angels turning up. It was kind of like they arrived, and then there was angels, and there was a lot of running and not blinking.
Yeah, again though, I don't know. I don't know what I think I'm looking out for it. I'm looking out for those moments where people are not, or where the angels aren't behaving as, and this is obviously in massive air quotes, they should.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I'm just kind of like sometimes seeing them when they're not there as well, and just some moments that are kind of like, but that doesn't make sense, sort of thing. Like, I mean, let's face it, none of it makes sense. They're bloody quantum locked age beings that can only don't look at them, But do you know what I mean? It's like within that internal consistency. I don't know what it is. It's almost like I'm looking out for flaws, and I think that might have been my issue going in. And it was kind of like I always found with the Weeping Angels before, and it's possibly again because it's only really Stephen Moffat who's written them before, other than in Big Finish, where they have been used really well actually. He's kind of like organically worked on like making them more powerful and more working out ways that actually, just looking at them isn't going to work, because if you look at them for too long, they will get inside you, sort of thing, and all that kind of thing. But what I did like about this was the fact that they were using all that, and the fact like, because I almost missed the explanation of how the angel got in her head, but it was the fact that she was clairvoyant basically, and she'd had a vision of an angel, so it kind of like got into it, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And like I did quite like that, and I like the fact that it tried coming through the TV and Jericho just cricket battered them, as you were alluding to earlier. And to be fair, I say I loved his character. I would quite happily watch a spin-off series of Professor Eustachius Jericho, kind of, or a Big Finish series or something.
I mean, see, Professor Jericho, he was. And what was weird was when it started off, I thought he was going to turn out to one of those guys who's just going to be annoying.
Yeah.
Who's not going to believe anything and be blah blah blah, but like he was on it.
Yeah, and he was like taking the Doctor's lead. It was like, I can see that you know what you're doing in this situation.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. There's a line where they're sort of coming in, and he just turns and goes, You are observed.
Yeah, that's my power over you.
That is my power over you. You are observed. I was like, yeah.
And then when they started trying to do the mind games on him, he was basically like, "No, I'm secure in where I'm at. Thank you very much." Yeah. Basically, like, I was like, because that would have worked on me, all that stuff that they were throwing at me, and that would have troubled me, because I don't have that self confidence. But
he was just like, I'm not having it.
I'm not having it. Yeah.
Somewhere there's someone in Big Finish that are rubbing their hands together, saying, right, already like scripting out some sort of Professor Jericho series. If not, you should be.
Yeah, I mean, let's say I was gonna go for the massive Jericho tangent, and let's come back. So one thing I did find about this episode was I almost felt like the budget for effects was running out at a couple of points with this one, because every week so far I've been really impressed with all the effects and like the VFX and the practical effects and everything. But in this, there's like a moment particularly when Claire kind of looks up and sees angel wings on her back in the mirror, and she looks like the worst cosplayer ever. They just don't look like stone.
Yes. Yeah, I get. Yeah, I know what you mean.
And that kind of sort of took me out a bit. Whereas there was a moment later on where, which was quite creepy, which is where the dust started coming out of her eye.
Yes. Yeah.
I thought that was really well done and really well played. So it was.
More subtle.
Yeah, it was more subtle, and it was kind of like it fit with the atmosphere they were trying to go with. I think, like, seeing the blatant thing of the wings was a bit too much show. Too much showing kind of thing in that instance. It's like with Alien. Alien works because you don't really see the fact that it's a guy in a latex suit and a big head.
That's why I thought one of the scariest one of the scariest moments, or jump scare moments for me, was right at the beginning when they were in the TARDIS.
Yeah.
And it kept, the lights kept going on and off, and you could see the angel moving around the console.
Yeah, yeah.
And then all of a sudden, obviously, the angel notices him, and then it's just coming for him. I thought that bit was some of those bits were really well done. Yeah,
those what I would call like the classic angel moments almost.
Yeah.
That really harken back to Blink and the that second story of them, which I can't remember, but with River Song as well. And those moments were great, and the fact that again that was harkening back to, because in the Time of the Angels thing, that's when they. Oh, in fact, no, that was the second story, wasn't it? Where they actually started draining the power of things around them to like stop the light source, kind of thing. So again, using those sort of evolutions and things.
And I think the fact that they kind of did things like making noises and stuff like that just to try and
distract you
into blinking and stuff. I thought that kind of stuff was pretty clever.
Yeah.
The thing I did find a little bit, because I knew when the old woman came on and you had the girl, there's a part of me that straight away thought that's going to turn out to be the little girl.
Yeah, it had to.
I didn't have a problem with it, but it was when you had the old couple who had raised her, and obviously they made out that the granddad was a bit of a nightmare. But she effectively sees them killed before her eyes. And you see Dan sort of go, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so," and she just goes, "Well, he was always mean to me.
He was always mean." Yeah.
And I thought, well, okay, but you did just see your granddad get like turned to stone and crushed. But also, what did your grandmum do to you?
Yeah, because she'd clearly been hard put on.
Yeah.
As well. I must admit, I mean, I obviously. You can't like those characters, but I almost didn't see the point of those characters being there.
They were
to
there
be honest.
They were there just to get taken out.
They were there just to get taken out.
They were there. But even that didn't really serve a purpose.
No.
Do you know what I mean? It didn't really.
It didn't add to the story any really.
No, there was no. It added no drama to it because she almost seemed quite emotionless over it. So. It was almost to show the audience, look, angels do actually kill people. It's not just they go back in time. That's what it felt more like. It was more to kind of remind us of the potential danger of it.
Yeah, because look, actually, if we get you twice, you will die. Despite the fact that didn't happen to Rory when he got twice, but never mind.
Someone explained that apparently.
Apparently something to do with the quantum extrapolation or something. I don't know, whatever it was.
I just kind of accept things. I just go, okay.
Yeah, end of the day, everything's got to get retconned and changed. You should never. It's one of those things of, while I am obviously one of those nerds who will constantly refer back to things like that, I know full well if something's got to work for a story and you need to change something, you just change it because it's got to work for your story. And at the end of the day, you're about telling your story, right? As long as you don't suddenly permanently make, I don't know, the Daleks like a force for good or something, it's fine. There's no real issue. I just like to point these things out because that's the kind of nerd I am.
But I did, I just like episodes where you've got people constantly on the back foot, and they're constantly having to work really hard to just get themselves out of Dodge. And in many ways it was, and all of them were in that, and I quite like the fact, actually, I was quite surprised that that Dan and Yaz got sent back in time. I was quite surprised by that, and you've then got that sort of cliffhanger of the Doctor effectively being turned into an angel, which was a really brilliant scene. Not quite sure how or why did they need to, or I suppose my other thing as well was did they need to get her there to use all the energy to turn her into an angel, or could they have done that at any time? Do you know what I mean? So there was kind of questions there, but I was willing to go with, because actually I just loved it. And I love the fact that actually the Doctor was just working stuff out on the fly and having to improvise as she goes. So even those little things like putting together effectively a kind of closed circuit TV system within the house. I thought it was a cracking idea and wasn't what I was expecting. And then with the flip side of that, like Professor Jericho going, well, look, if you're going to go in to her mind, he wasn't even questioning the fact that it was rubbish. He just accepted, like, right, well, if you're going to do that, I want to be recording this because I've never seen anything like this when we need to record it.
Yeah.
So they worked really well together, as did Claire. And I just think the way they separated off the characters, I thought was good. I think it was really good, actually, in one respect, that Yaz wasn't there.
I think we've said that throughout, haven't we? Because the Doctor and Yaz have been split up almost every episode. And it just seems to work better for not just for the Doctor, but for Yaz as well sometimes, to give her that voice of authority a bit. Because, Dan knows full well that she's got more experience in this stuff. And is quite happy to basically follow her lead. A, she's a policewoman anyway, and B, he knows she's got the experience of the random stuff. Yeah. So I do think that works. I don't know. I think for me, I just kind of thought at one point it felt a bit Quantum of Solace to me, in that it was like everything that happened. It didn't kind of like, it wasn't like almost like I couldn't see the logic between each step of the things, and the fact that, oh look, there just happens to be a tunnel to get here to get you out, kind of thing. Like, it all seemed a bit contrived to me. I think what was happening within the basement, which to me took away from the Doctor a bit more again, and kind of like, she just seemed to be flailing about a bit to me,
which is weird because I didn't see it like that. I saw it that they were trapped in the basement. She went into her mind. He then threw a cuppa, which I thought was quite funny, even though we didn't see it, to kind of bring her out of it because the angels were coming in.
Yeah. And
given the fact they were surrounding angels, she had enough about her to kind of look at the plans of the place and find a boarded up exit. So I didn't really, and they were below ground. So to me, I didn't really, I mean, it's contrived in the point of view of any kind of cliffhanger scene where you've then got to write someone out of a hole, but I didn't feel that it was. I didn't sort of sit there and go, "Oh, come on, really?"
I think I'd have just liked to have heard mention of that tunnel, or like seen the plans beforehand, because it just seemed to be like, "Oh shit, we need to get." Excuse me. It just seemed to be like, "Oh, we need to get out of this." So, a tunnel, sort of thing to me. I don't know. Maybe again, as I say, maybe. Said at the top, I seem to have been looking for flaws with this one, and I don't know why.
I think that's a bit. I feel that she was kind of looking around, as you would, because you're kind of trapped, so you look for a way out. So she then sees the plans, and obviously sees a boarded up place. Whereas I think if they'd shown that before, and it's like, oh, by the way, here are the plans. I don't know how they would have done it, but do you know what I mean? I think if they'd done that before, I would have felt that was more contrived. I would have thought that would have been like, oh, okay, you've shown me there's a tunnel down there, so later on when they get stuck, they've got a place to get out.
Right. Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
I can see that. I don't know. As I say, I don't know what it is with this one, but I just seem to have, because I've been enjoying every episode. So maybe that's it. Maybe I've kind of like, maybe my brain was just like, you know what, you've really enjoyed 3. Let's find every single thing we can to not like about this, whether it's actually there or not. I don't know what it is about it.
It's interesting though, because as I said, I think I went into it expecting not necessarily to not like it, but I think because it was Weeping Angels, I did sort of go in there with almost that sort of, oh, here we go again. So yeah. I was surprised how much I did enjoy it by the end of it, which is the strength of how well the episode was put together, in my opinion.
So just like stepping away from, I guess, because we've kind of covered most of the actual episode itself now. So what are your thoughts on, obviously, the Weeping Angels working for the Division, which suggests that the Division are still active?
Well, I mean, to me, I got the impression the Division is like, you know, all knowing, all seeing, whatever, and that they're still going. It's got to be that old woman. It's got to be running it. You've only got
whatever she was called.
Yeah, because you've only got 2 episodes left. She can't be a completely random character to me.
No.
she's got to be division, and she's got to be like, if not high up, the top board, because it needs to. I think they kind of need to have an antagonist. They need to have a voice. Do you know what I mean? Someone that the Doctor can kind of rail against.
Yeah.
So I would assume that's her. But
Yeah.
I quite like the fact that they've recruited everyone, because you could almost and I think some people had assumed, as I had, that the division were kind of like Time Lords, like a kind of offshoot of.
Yeah, and that was my question, because I'm kind of now thinking, are they not Time Lords then? Are they not, or are they not just Time Lords?
Yeah, that's my impression. My impression is it's bigger than that.
Yeah. That's kind of where I'm going with it now, which does intrigue me.
Yeah,
especially being as the Masters destroyed Gallifrey again. So it's kind of like, if they are just a Time Lord organization, where, I mean, they could have been off planet, because, like I say, they're all seeing and all knowing and whatnot. But I just, the other thing that I find is, because I've seen some people saying, what have they been doing for the past 13 regenerations of the Doctor? Because we've not. But there's part of me that was kind of thinking, yeah, they probably just didn't care until now.
Yeah,
they've got other operatives,
Yeah, if it's that big an organization, why would they?
Yeah.
Because
to us, the Doctor is of great import, but to an organisation like the Division, it's one agent. Oh well, we'll get her if we need her again.
Also, the whole concept of Doctor Who was the fact that the Doctor's always kind of been kind of on the run anyway.
On the run, yeah, exactly, yeah.
So
yeah, it is. To be fair, yeah, it is an easy retcon to go in. Yeah, like that's what maybe he didn't know, but that was essentially what was running from.
Yeah.
You wipe your memories. You come in, you're like, there is something you're escaping from. So yeah. So I just thought it was quite interesting. Just thoughts on that. I don't think there's much else to cover with this one.
No, I think we've.
So I say I'm going to watch it again, actually, and just see if I can get a better frame of mind on it, because I do feel there was a lot. I feel it was better than my brain let me think it was, and as I say, I still don't know why. Maybe it's this cold, maybe it was long weekend or what. I don't know, but yeah, I'm still a bit ambivalent to it. But everything you've said, I completely agree with. So yeah, I'm bemused by my own opinion, as it were. Thanks everyone for joining us and for listening again. Thanks, Barry, once again for joining me for having this chat. Find us in the usual places, which are, over to you, Mr. Nugent.
Email is thegeeks@geeksyndicate.co.uk. You can find us on Twitter @geeksyndicate. We have a private Facebook group, so if you just knock on the door and I will let you in. And we're on Instagram as well. And thanks everyone. We have had some comments coming in, so that's great. So I think what we're going to do as well is we may even try and do a longer episode next episode. I'm not sure. Now that we're coming into sort of the penultimate one, or a pre-episode where we can kind of go through some of the comments that people have made, perhaps.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Cool. Well, thanks everyone, and we shall see you next time for Survivors of the Flux, I believe the next episode's called.
Yes.
See you again. Cheerio.
Bye all.